is Lacey with Idaho Mountain Family. Today I am grinding up bear meat that I shot from my black bear hunt this spring. We are making it into sausage. So I've got all of meat. I've already processed it once through the grinder, through a big one. We use the Lem Big Bite grinder. That is the number 12 3/4 horsepower. So I do have a foot pedal I use, but let's get started. Alright, okay, so we ground it in took about 15 minutes. It's the bigger texture. It's all ground up. A couple things you might need to know about grinding meat. It's easier if your parts are cold. So we throw our heads and things like that. The mixer and the grinder parts inside, we throw them in the freezer for about 20 minutes before we start this process. Also, this is the blend I'm using for our sausage, and it is called High Mountains Authentic Wyoming Recipe, and it's just the Mountain Man blend is what we like for the sausage. So I'm going to season and mix it up and put it back in the fridge so the meat stays nice and cold and it can kind of get the flavors in it, and I'll come back and put it in sausage casings later. Alright, so we have been cooling our meat and marinating it for over 2 hours. So we are now going to start stuffing the sausage. We use this Lem natural hog casing. They're the 35 millimeters, is what we're using today, 32 to 35 millimeter, and it stuffs between 20 and 25 pounds of meat. So what you do is, this is one casing. You start at the end. They come like this. You soak them for 60 minutes in warm water, a warm bath. You find an end, open it up, and put it onto your stuffing end. And so you have to be careful. You don't want to rip a hole in it. So you have to be careful and slowly guide it. So you're going to put the whole entire casing on the end of the stuffer. You're just going to do it all the way to the end. Leave a little bit of room so you can twist it off and tie it. so the meat doesn't come out the very end. Alright, so you want to leave a little room on the end so that when you first start pushing meat through, the air can come out, and then you twist it afterwards because you don't want air bubbles.
I'm just getting the meatballs ready, and then I can do that and you can watch that in, right?
Yeah.
So if you get a gap between meat, you get air bubbles. It's the foot pedal. You can stop when you run out and I'll re-roll some more. Either on or off, not in between.
So if you're doing the tie-off method, you're going to want to twist counterclockwise one time and clockwise the next, so that you always keep them tight. you do it one casing at a time. Alright, so it is actually easier to put the casings on with the attachment on your grinder already, your stepper. And you're going to want to take it to almost the end. You just leave it to about right there where it opens up, about an inch to an inch and a half.
You gotta thread it all the way on.
Yeah, with the air.
So that the air goes out the end.
Yeah. It's not pretty. I feel like these casings are too big. Alrighty, okay, so we are done with our finished product. We use, like I said earlier before, the Lem Natural Hod casings. They were the 32 to 35 millimeters. So this is what they turned out, our finished product, as you can see. They look gorgeous and beautiful, and we will put them in the freezer, but I wanted to mention we tried the smaller tubing for smaller sausage, and here's what we found. They're not as pretty. You need a smaller casing if you want to do the smaller sausage links for, you know, morning breakfast or whatever you prefer, but I would suggest to go with a smaller casing. That way it's easier and you're not wasting. You can see we wasted a lot of casing. So that would be my suggestion in what we've learned, and I hope you have learned something. If you have questions, please let me know.
Alright, well, here's what we're doing. We're vacuum packing these things and freezing them. So Lacey is working on that. Alright, there we go. We got one pan in the freezer already.